How many times have you stood in front of the mirror and whispered, "This time it's different"? You plan it all out. New goals, new habits, fresh start. But somehow 2 weeks in, you're back where you started. The gym bag gathers dust. The journal is blank, and the motivation that once felt electric is now silent. Again, another broken promise. Another restart. And with every reset, you don't just lose time, you lose something far more valuable: trust in yourself. But here's the truth: you're not broken. You're not weak. And you're definitely not alone. The real issue: no one ever taught you how to build trust with yourself. They told you to hustle harder, stay motivated, be more disciplined. But no one showed you that self-trust isn't about force. It's about building a relationship with yourself through action. Napoleon Hill, author of Think and Grow Rich, said it clearly: faith is the only known antidote for failure. Faith in what? In life, in purpose, but most of all in yourself. And faith doesn't magically appear. It's earned. Every time you keep a promise, show up when it's hard, do the small thing you said you would, you earn it. Jordan Peterson puts it like this: you build yourself by keeping your promises, not the loud ones you tell the world. The quiet ones you whisper to yourself at night. Those are the promises that shape who you are becoming. If you've ever felt like you're constantly starting over, stuck in the same loop of temporary motivation and inevitable collapse, this video is for you. We're not chasing hype here. We're building something that lasts. This isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming consistent. About showing up even when you don't feel ready. About building self-respect one small action at a time. You're not here to restart again. You're here to rebuild. Let's begin. You don't wake up one day and suddenly trust yourself. Just like you don't wake up fit after one workout or wise after one book. Self-trust is built drop by drop, like filling a jar with water. And that jar doesn't get full overnight. That's where most people get stuck. They think confidence comes before action. But Napoleon Hill taught something different. He said, action is the real measure of intelligence. And that action, especially the small, simple ones, are what rebuild your identity. Let's talk about micro actions. Not 10 goals. Not a 5 a.m. routine with cold plunges and green juice. Just one simple promise kept every day. That's the seed. Jordan Peterson often says, start small. Clean your room, because the foundation of who you are is built in the ordinary, not the extraordinary. Now think about this. If you do one push-up a day, journal for 2 minutes, or read one page before bed, it might seem like nothing. But those actions become a loop. A loop of showing up. A loop of doing what you said you would. And that's where identity lives. Howard Schultz, former CEO of Starbucks, grew up watching his mother create routines that brought order to chaos. That structure inspired him. It shaped his idea of what success looked like, not in big gestures, but in daily systems. Chris Pratt? Before Hollywood, he lived in a van in Maui, selling coupons door to door. Every morning, he made a promise to himself to do something small. Exercise, clean up, help someone. Those small steps built the man the world would later know. Serena Williams didn't become a champion overnight. As a kid, she trained on cracked public courts with her sister. What made her great wasn't the setting, it was the repetition. The daily loop. Steve Harvey once slept in his car for 3 years while chasing his dream. But each day, he got up, wrote jokes, practiced. Those consistent actions, not fame, not luck, shaped his trust in himself. Arnold Schwarzenegger. He started as a teenager washing cars in California, squeezing in workouts between shifts. He visualized success, but he earned it with repetition. Reps in the gym. Reps in his mind. Now, let's be clear, this isn't about idolizing famous people. It's about recognizing a pattern. Every one of them built trust in themselves by keeping small promises over and over again. And science backs it up. Carol Dweck's research on the growth mindset shows that who we become is shaped less by talent and more by our belief that effort matters. And when effort is applied daily, it transforms identity. Les Brown once said, "You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great." That's not just a quote, it's a strategy. Start tiny. Stay consistent. Let it grow. Here's a metaphor that may help. Imagine you have a jar. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, you add a drop. At first, it seems like nothing's changing. But day after day, drop by drop, that jar fills. And one day, it overflows. Not with water, but with confidence. So here's your takeaway. Don't wait to feel motivated. Don't wait to feel ready. Choose one thing, one action, one drop. Repeat it daily. Let the loop do the work. You're not rebuilding your life overnight. You're rebuilding you. And that starts with the next small promise you keep. But what if your environment is silently sabotaging you every day? That's next. You know that feeling, you're finally ready to commit, your plan is perfect, and you feel unstoppable for a few days. Then, out of nowhere, you skip a day, miss a task, get tired, and just like that, you're back at zero. Again, it's not just frustrating, it's exhausting. And over time, it teaches your mind something dangerous. I can't be trusted to follow through. But here's the truth that no one talks about. Most of us aren't failing because we're lazy. We're failing because we're perfectionists. Jordan Peterson has said that one of the most toxic patterns we fall into is aiming for an ideal so high that failure becomes inevitable. Then we use that failure as proof that we're not good enough. But what if the problem isn't that you fell off? It's that you set the bar to an impossible height. Napoleon Hill warned, the subconscious mind will translate into reality a thought driven by fear or by faith. If your system is driven by fear, fear of not being perfect, of missing a day, of falling short, it's set up to fail. But if your system is based on faith in small, steady actions, it becomes unstoppable. Let's look at the role of environment. Tim Ferriss beat crippling depression not with motivation, but by designing a system. He removed distractions, created rituals, and automated his day. He didn't rely on willpower. He relied on structure. J.K. Rowling didn't write Harry Potter with perfect conditions. She was a single mother, unemployed, writing in cafes while her baby slept. Her environment wasn't ideal, it was survival. But she wrote anyway, every day, one sentence at a time. And then there's Matthew McConaughey. At the peak of his fame, he vanished. Not because he failed, but because he was stuck in a cycle of success that didn't align with who he really was. He went into solitude, reset his environment, and returned not just with clarity, but with power. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. After his football career ended, he was broke, depressed, and living in a small apartment with no furniture. But he changed his space, changed his focus, and started training like his life depended on it. Because it did. The common thread? Each of these people stopped waiting for perfect conditions. They changed their environment or learned to act in spite of it. And that's key. Tony Robbins teaches, if you can't, you must. If you must, you can. Discipline isn't about ease. It's about necessity. And necessity kills perfectionism. Ed Mylett talks about the identity thermostat. He says your results will always return to the level of identity you believe you deserve. If you believe you're someone who quits, your brain will find a way to quit. But if you train it to believe you follow through, it starts fighting for you. Here's where self-sabotage hides, in your expectations. If you believe you have to be perfect, missing one day feels like total failure. That's the trap. So how do we break the cycle? You build what I call the imperfect system, a setup that allows you to fall, but not break. A structure that's designed for consistency, not perfection. That might mean journaling 3 times a week instead of 7. Or working out for 10 minutes, not 60. The win isn't the scale. It's the return. Let me say that again. The win isn't never falling. It's learning how to come back faster, stronger, more aligned. You're not failing because you can't do it. You're failing because you haven't created a system that lets you succeed without being perfect. You don't need to restart again. You need to rethink the way you start. And what if you could automate trust like a ritual? Let me show you how. You've been told to chase motivation, to find your why, to wait for the right moment. But what if that's exactly what's keeping you stuck? Here's a truth that might change everything. Motivation doesn't come before action. It comes after. Like a shadow, following discipline wherever it goes. If you're waiting to feel inspired before you move, you'll wait forever. Jordan Peterson says it best. You must treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. That means showing up for yourself, even when it's inconvenient. especially when it's inconvenient. Because those are the moments that shape your self-respect. And self-respect? It's not built by thinking about your potential. It's built through rituals. Small, non-negotiable acts that declare, I matter. My word matters. Let's break this down. A morning ritual doesn't have to be an elaborate 2-hour routine. It could be 3 simple actions. 1. Get out of bed without snoozing. 2. Drink a glass of water. 3. Write 1 sentence about what you want to feel today. These aren't big moves, but they're identity moves. They tell your brain, this is who I am now. Napoleon Hill said, discipline is the bridge between thought and accomplishment. That bridge isn't built on good intentions. It's built on repetition. Look at Kobe Bryant. He was already one of the greatest, but he still trained at 4 a.m. Not because he needed to, but because that ritual reminded him who he was. His discipline wasn't just physical. It was spiritual. Tim Grover, who trained both Kobe and Michael Jordan, described them as obsessed with consistency. They didn't negotiate with their feelings. They trusted the system. And the system delivered. Trevor Noah grew up in South Africa, where simply reading certain books could put him in danger. But he created a secret system of learning. Even as a child, he understood structure is safety. His discipline protected his future. Ryan Holiday, a modern-day Stoic, begins every morning with journaling. Not for the algorithm, not for show, but to reset his mind. Every single day. That's not productivity, it's self-respect. Stephen Covey taught, private victory precedes public victory. The world doesn't see your 5 a.m., your journaling, your refusal to snooze. But you do. And what you do when no one's watching is what defines everything. Eric Thomas, one of the most powerful motivational voices of our time, said, be phenomenal or be forgotten. But that doesn't mean flashy. It means relentless. It means showing up when it's boring, when it's hard, when no one claps. Here's a metaphor. Imagine your life is a house. Your goals are the furniture. Your habits are the walls. But discipline is the foundation. Without it, everything collapses under pressure. If you build your day on motivation, you're building on sand. But if you build your day on ritual, you're building on rock. So here's the move. Identify 3 small actions that matter to you. Make them non-negotiable. Not because they're big, but because they're sacred. That's how you teach your nervous system, your mind, your identity that you are someone who follows through. You don't need to feel ready. You need to act as if you already are. Because the truth is, self-trust is not a feeling. It's a system. And you're the architect. If this is resonating with you, drop a comment. No more resets. Let's make this your new normal. You've heard enough promises. You've seen enough hype. You don't need another productivity hack or a 5-step plan to reinvent yourself. What you need is something deeper, something quieter. You need to become someone who keeps their own word. Because here's the truth. The real damage of breaking your routines, skipping the workout, or quitting the journal isn't just about the missed action. It's about what it tells your brain. Every time you quit on yourself, you teach your mind that your word doesn't matter. And that's where confidence dies. But there's another path. Every time you show up, even the smallest way, you tell yourself, I am reliable. Every time you make your bed, write that one line, drink that water, you're not just doing a task, you're rewriting who you believe you are. Jordan Peterson reminds us, your life improves in proportion to the number of things you can say no to. Saying no to comfort. No to excuses. No to the part of you that wants to give up again. That's where the shift begins. And Napoleon Hill once said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But belief isn't magic. It's built on behavior. You don't need to climb a mountain today. You just need to take one small step and actually take it. Do it again tomorrow. Then the next day. Build a system so small it's impossible to fail, and then never stop showing up. Because real power? It's not loud. It's consistent. It's the quiet pride of knowing you can count on yourself. You don't need to start over. You just need to keep going. So if this message hit home, don't just move on. Hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone else who's ready to break the restart cycle. Let this be the moment you say, no more resets. You're not rebuilding your habits. You're rebuilding you.
Hey, incredible growth seekers. Wow, what a journey. If this video resonated, subscribe now for more life-changing content. Join our community of self-improvers. Smash that like button to fuel more content on mindfulness, goal setting, and emotional intelligence. Share this video to create a ripple of positive change. Comment below about your growth journey. Your insights shape our content. Next week, boosting self-confidence and overcoming limiting beliefs. Don't miss it. Every interaction brings us closer to a world of empowered individuals. Let's make personal development global. Stay inspired, keep growing. Your best self awaits. Let's unlock it together.